Welcome back to Buy Sell Hold, the weekly series where I, partners, will be telling you which AFL sports trading cards that you should consider buying, selling, or even potentially holding for a better deal down the line so that you can get bang for buck for your trading cards and enhance your collecting experience. Last week's round of footy proved to be very tough for tipsters with plenty of upsets happening around the league. And I believe the results may create a major shift with some of the key sports cards on the market. Let's go. My pair of buys this week are two players who are currently much well-known by the AFL media and potentially the AFL community. Two of the league's best inside balls in Tim Taranto and Matt Rowell. Matt Rowell's DPS from 2020 Dominance was the first DPS that was truly ever speculated. Some of his DPS prices at the time reached extreme levels, and people including me decided to jump on the hype train. In hindsight, was it a smart decision? Probably not, as since then, Matt Rowell has struggled with a combination of injury and performance. You may be sitting there thinking, Butters, you might be cherry picking one performance on the weekend compared to Matt Rowell's quite underwhelming career so far. But contrary to belief, Matt Rowell's actually had a pretty solid season and has risen to the challenge ever since Touk Miller was ruled out with a long-term injury. But as a collecting community, we actually haven't seen any on-field success from Gold Coast, which is obviously a contributing factor when it comes to positive price spikes. On the other hand, Tim Taranto has copped a lot of media scrutiny this season, with stories circulating that he's not currently within the top 150 players in the AFL have led to quite a negative image of Tim Taranto's play style. The Tigers have also been quite underwhelming this season, with the latest news that Damien Hardwick is no longer going to be head coach at Richmond. This could see Richmond trading cards reach lower levels that we haven't seen in a long time. And because of them being potentially undervalued, I do see them being a buy for now and later in the season. Moving forward, I do expect Tim Taranto to feature heavily in selector releases, given the fact he signed a 7-year deal with the Tigers last year. And with Taranto's first ever Richmond cards being minted, it'll be interesting to see how that virtuoso stacks up against some of his previous cards, like his Future Force rookie cards, his GWS rookie card, and even future Richmond cards down the line. Before we move on to the sell, if you enjoy up-to-date footy card content, be sure to leave a like and follow, and let me know down in the comments which cards you're buying, you're selling, or even potentially want to sit on for a little while longer. My sell is slightly controversial considering it involves a set of cards which is highly revered in the AFL card community. There's a pretty strong argument to make that the Hall of Fame set is the most revered set Selective ever minted, with the 1996 edition being the holy grail of the Hall of Fame set. But if you're someone who pays attention to the sold section on eBay, then you also would have noticed that these cards are selling for massive money on the secondary market. We've seen multiple listings end for amounts around the $3,000 mark, which is a massive amount of money in any context. However, if you've been in the collecting community prior to about 2019, you may be sitting on these cards for a lot less than what they're commanding on the secondary market. However, now could be a perfect time to consider selling this set and capitalize on your hard-earned profit. Of course, in hindsight, this call could backfire, but I'll never complain about securing money in hand. So while these cards are still awesome collector's pieces, it does raise a bit of food for thought. Moving on to my hold, if you haven't noticed, I'm actually a West Coast Eagles supporter, and it's been a really tough year. But one of the only reasons why I decided to turn on the TV this season has been Oscar Allen. For the amount of supply that he's received this season, I think that Oscar Allen's been one of the most impressive forwards in the league. With West Coast sitting firmly in last place, but Oscar Allen somehow finding himself 7th in the Coleman standings, I think it's a testament to the amount of talent that Oscar Allen truly possesses. Hence, for the moment, that's why I think he's a massive hold. Holding onto your Oscar Allen investments, or even potentially investing in Oscar Allen, definitely has its pros. Not only is he extremely young, he also has potential to be a future captain of West Coast. And while the pain for West Coast supporters feels like it will never end, West Coast won't be bad forever. West Coast membership tally in previous season has surpassed 100,000 members multiple times. But when translating to the AFL trading card hobby, their collector size isn't as big as you'd expect. And for that reason alone, I think there is future upside when it comes to West Coast trading cards and also Oscar Allen. So in short, I definitely wouldn't be going to sell Oscar Allen cards despite West Coast's really poor season. But he's also not a really urgent buy, considering the fact that West Coast probably won't be competing for finals for quite a number of years. That's it for this week's Buy Sell Hold. As always, let me know down in the comments which AFL trading cards you're buying, you're selling, and you're holding, and catch me next week as we divulge into this week's round of footy, which I'm sure will pose many more investing opportunities. See you then.